What's going on? Yeah, welcome back to the Grit Culture. So today's Sunday, February the 7th. Today is the big game. The big game. Super Bowl 55. Featuring two Titans in the game. Got Patrick Mahomes, who's considered the best quarterback right now in the NFL. The reigning Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs with their extremely high-powered offense. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. Then they're going against the crowned greatest of all time. At the very least, the greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady. He's going for his 7th ring. His 7th. That's what I want to talk about. Talk about the legacy of Tom Brady. Win, lose, or draw, whatever the outcome is today, his greatness in the game cannot be understated. I mean, look at the portfolio. What he's able to accomplish on a year-by-year basis. He's been doing it since he got in the league. Went to the Super Bowl his very first year. Now, they had a good team, had a great defensive team. Never really been highly endowed when it comes to the offensive side. I mean, think about it. Outside of Randy Moss, what just extremely dynamic, and I mean dynamic receiver outside of Moss and Gronkowski, what super dynamic receiver has Brady really had? The one that can just, do it all, downfield, across the middle, jump ball, stuff like that. Who has he really had? He hasn't had, a Julio Jones type player for, multiple years like a Matt Ryan's had, or he hasn't had a Devontae Adams. He only had Randy Moss for about 3 years or 2.5 years. He had Wes Welker. But Wes Welker was a slot receiver. And he was very good, one of the best at what he does, but that's what he did. I'm not gonna tell Wes Welker to go deep. Go deep one-on-one with the defender. He's never had any real, top running backs. They've always been able to, implement a run game due to the, the outstanding coaching, Bill Belichick, but never had no real top running backs. Outside of you, maybe Corey Dillon, but that was on the backside of his career. And all Brady's done is won. All he's done is won. He was one of the first players, the first player to throw for 50 touchdowns in the season. See what happened the second you gave him that type of receiver. Gave him Randy Moss. Able to throw 50 touchdowns, and they almost went 19-0. That's a hard feat. That's a very hard feat to do, especially in today's NFL when there's more parity than ever. And I still say today because, 2008, 2007, whenever that was, that's not that long ago. Not that long ago. May have been even tougher then than it was today. Because as you know, the season, a lot of rules changed. And that's why a lot of There has to be a lot of context when you describing stats because, a lot of different things changed, and they changed, because of Tom Brady. The league wanted to protect quarterbacks like Tom Brady, who were the cash cows. In the 90s and, early 2000s, quarterback injuries were just, you'd be lucky to make it through 16 games in the season, especially in the 90s. Just look, go through the highlights. You'll always see, there's always a few games where the backup quarterback was starting. For each team, you had to have a great depth chart. You had that depth chart then. You still need it today, but like I said, the quarterbacks are protected. And that a lot of that started with the Brady injury, week 1 of that 2008 season. With Bernard Pollard, was that 2008, 2009? I believe it was 2008, yeah. Bernard Pollard slid into Brady's leg, ironically against the Kansas City Chiefs. They started making a lot of rules. You couldn't go low on the quarterback. That'd be roughing the passer. Really started enforcing the late hits, all type of stuff. They had to go through many lengths to protect that quarterback in the pocket. So that's been able to help them sustain longer careers. Brady, help guys like Brady be able to play till 43. You had Drew Brees, who just retired at 40. I don't think he's officially announced his retirement, but supposed to be. Looking like that was his last season. He's still playing. He was still playing at 41. Brady wants to play till 45. Not to say, like I said, it's still an amazing feat. Still an amazing feat to play quarterback in the NFL because you're going to take some shots. Still going to take some shots, especially in, on a lot of plays. It's just not as rough as it used to be. But yeah, when bringing up stats, that has to be understood because I saw the comparison, to Patrick Mahomes and his stats between his first, 50 games compared to Brady. It's a different game. But what Mahomes is doing is great. But what Brady's doing is just unprecedented and amazing. Absolutely amazing. Every single time he's faced criticism, they've been asking for years. Is this it for him? Is he finished? Has he finally hit the wall? Go back, find that game where, and I don't forget, it was a few years ago, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, where the Patriots lost to the Chiefs 41-14 in Arrowhead. I think it was Monday night or Sunday night. And that's where the discussion started coming in. Is he finished? Is the dynasty finally over? And if I remember right, because I'm just going off of memory, that was the season that they beat the Seattle Seahawks in the Super Bowl. Went on a run and beat the Seahawks, and the Seahawks had a legendary defense, one of the best defenses in NFL history during that period. The whole Legion of Boom. You saw what they had done to Peyton Manning the prior year in the Super Bowl. If I remember right, I believe that was all within the same year. But, just look at the consistency. The man's never lost less than, I think outside of I think they went 9-7 one year in like 2002 maybe, if I remember right. But outside of that, he's never lost. He's always won at least 10 games every year. Consistently wins about 12 games a year. Was able to accomplish that last year when, he basically had nothing to work with on offense. And I told people that. You couldn't let the numbers fool you. He was throwing to, he didn't have much around him. I made the joke, he was throwing a bunch of Walmart cart pushers out there. I always make that joke, and there's no offense to Walmart cart pushers, but y'all get what I'm saying. He did not have much to work with. People were calling him finally washed up again. And you had a lot of people, basically saying Brady wouldn't be nothing without Belichick. You had the whole argument, Belichick would Belichick be anything without Brady, or would Brady be anything without Belichick? I think that they both contributed to the greatness. Belichick is a great coach. They both contributed. Because of their greatness, they were able to sustain it for such a long time. I mean, they've been to, before, prior to this, Brady had been to 9 Super Bowls. They had been to 9 Super Bowls together. Won 6 of them. Then if they're not going to the Super Bowl, they're usually making it to the very least the AFC Championship game, or they sustain a divisional spot, a first round bye. And yeah, y'all can say the division is, they played in a soft division, the AFC East. It was a soft division for all those years, but they still got to beat all the other teams. They still got to beat the Baltimores of the league, the Indianapolises. They were going to the Pittsburgh Steelers, going against some talent. Still got to beat those guys. Then if you understand how NFL scheduling works, when you lead your division, that means you play whoever was the top teams of their division from the year prior when going against when dealing with your conference. So meaning, the AFC Patriots were number 1 in their division. They played the top teams who were number 1 in their division the following year. Just look it up. You can confirm what I'm saying. So they're playing competition on a yearly basis. They're not going against no scrubs. Maybe it's a cakewalk in their division, but they still got to win the games outside of that. And they've always risen to the occasion. Those have always been their test, and they've always risen to the occasion. And Brady's always risen to the occasion. So it says something, his first season. And yes, Tampa Bay had a talented team, but, they were, 7-9 last year? Well, from 7-9 to, you insert Brady. And they inserted a few guys, the Gronkowskis, Antonio Brown. But, still a big step. 7-9 to a Super Bowl. He throws 40 touchdowns at 43 years old, throws 40 touchdowns this year. His first year, very first year. And has the opportunity to win his 7th ring. It's undeniable greatness. Undeniable greatness. So win, lose, or draw, his legacy's already cemented. And just the fact that he got here, was able to accomplish this. And like I said, it's a team effort. It's not individual. But you still a lot you got to do as a quarterback. You're running, you're commanding the team, and it's just the consistency. When you see winning and you see that consistent face, standing in the win column, especially as the leader of the team. The quarterback is the leading position of the team. They're usually the face of the team. And winning is usually paired up with that face. That's amazing. So, yeah, he's taking out, he's beating Drew Brees. Of course, Drew Brees on the backside of his career, but coming off of 2 losses to New Orleans, and to come back and get the win in New Orleans, then to beat Aaron Rodgers. You got the opportunity to take out Brees, Rodgers, and Mahomes in the same postseason. that'll write a great story. It's gonna be a great story either way, either way it goes, because we're looking at the continued success of Patrick Mahomes, and barring any injury or anything crazy, he's gonna have he's gonna have multiple Super Bowls. Gonna have a Hall of Fame, a iconic, legendary career. So we're gonna witness a great game. We're gonna witness some history today. I personally, I picked the Bucks. I bet some money. I bet $100 on the Bucks. I believe the Chiefs are the better team. I believe the Bucks are the underdogs, but I'm gonna go for the underdog. Like I said, I put 100 on it just to make have some fun with this game. So I'm going with Tampa. I'm going with Brady's 7th ring with this one. And as a Raiders fan, I just don't want to hear the Chiefs fans. I don't want to hear their mouths for a whole nother year, man. I already got to hear them from the championship they won from last year. So we'll see what happens. But other than that, comment, like, subscribe, share. Let me know what you think about this, and I'll be back. All right.